Previously, I made a series of videos going over what a DC universe would look like based on the MCU if DC sold the rights to their biggest characters. I also made a follow-up video going over what Sony did with Batman. And now, finishing this timeline off, at least for now, I'll be going over what 20th Century Fox did with the rights to the Justice Society and various other DC franchises they bought the rights to. They would begin with Justice Society in 2000. The movie follows Wonder Woman as she leaves Themyscira for the first time in over a decade and ends up joining the Justice Society. The team is led by Dr. Fate and includes Hawkman, Alan Scott Green Lantern, and Jay Garrick Flash. The team is also joined by Yolanda Montez, who takes up the mantle of Wildcat, a title that originally belonged to Ted Grant, a former member of the Justice Society. Michael Holt also appears, but he wouldn't be Mr. Terrific yet. The team faces off against their main enemies, the Injustice Society, led by the Wizard with other members including the Shade, Cheetah, and the Fiddler. By the end, both Cheetah and Fiddler die, while Wizard is arrested and Shade gets away. As I mentioned, the Justice Society weren't the only DC franchise Fox bought the rights to. They also owned Blue Beetle and made a movie in 2003 called Blue Beetle. In this movie, Ted Kord takes up the mantle of Blue Beetle from Dan Garrett and faces off against his own uncle, Jarvis Kord, who also turns Carapax into an armored villain. Ted is saved by Booster Gold, who recently came back from the future to become a hero. They defeat Carapax, but then Booster returns to his own time, leaving Ted to face Jarvis alone. This movie would not get a sequel, however, it would get a spin-off. Also in 2003, Fox would release a sequel to Justice Society called Justice Society United. In this movie, the Justice Society face off against an old enemy of Wonder Woman, Dr. Poison. Shade breaks the Wizard out of prison, and the two of them agree to work with the Justice Society to take on Dr. Poison. Michael Holt becomes Mr. Terrific, and they're also joined by Obsidian, who isn't related to Alan Scott in this universe, and Icicle, who ultimately decides to join the Injustice Society instead. In 2005, Fox would release a spin-off of Blue Beetle called Booster Gold, following Booster returning from the present, hoping to reunite with Blue Beetle. However, Ted isn't actually in this movie. Instead, the movie deals with Booster trying to make a name for himself as a hero while facing off against Blackguard. This movie doesn't do very well, and so it basically killed any chance of a Blue Beetle sequel. Instead, Fox abandoned these characters, leading to the rights reverting to DC. At the same time Fox abandoned Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, they would try their hand at another DC franchise they bought the rights to, Doom Patrol. The movie shows the origins of Robot Man, Negative Man, and Elastigirl, and they are all brought together by the Chief and facing off against the Brain and his group, the Brotherhood of Evil. In 2006, the original Justice Society trilogy concludes with Justice Society: The Last Stand. In this movie, it's revealed that in the Justice Society's early days, they faced off against the Spirit of Vengeance, Eclipso, who is imprisoned by Dr. Fate in the Heart of Darkness. In present day, Eclipso is accidentally released by Bruce Gordon, who he then possesses. Alan Scott finds out and goes after him, but is immediately killed. Meanwhile, the Injustice Society expands, recruiting Brainwave and Sportsmaster. They are also joined by Eclipso. Obsidian doesn't appear for some reason, but the Justice Society is joined by the Spectre, a former member of the Justice Society who is a Spirit of Vengeance himself. And Dr. Fate sacrificed himself to separate Eclipso from Bruce Gordon. Eclipso then possesses Hawkman instead. Hawkman lets Wonder Woman kill him in order to destroy Eclipso, while the Injustice Society are defeated again. A post-credit scene shows the Helmet of Fate being found by Kent Nelson's nephew, Kent V. Nelson, who is set up to become the new Dr. Fate. In 2007, Fox would release a sequel to Doom Patrol, Doom Patrol: Rise of Mr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody is the main villain, however, a majority of the movie deals with the return of the Brotherhood of Evil, while the Doom Patrol is joined by Mento. Mr. Nobody appears as a cloud monster. There will not be a Doom Patrol 3, instead the franchise will be rebooted. The next movie in the Justice Society universe would release in 2009, Secret Origin Wonder Woman. It tells the story of Diana leaving Themyscira for the first time in the 1970s. Diana meets Barbara Minerva, and they become friends. Diana finds herself facing Dr. Poison for the first time, while protecting a boy named Billy Batson. Both Barbara and Billy end up being kidnapped by Dr. Poison, who mutates Barbara into Cheetah and convinces her to go after Wonder Woman. Most of the movie is Wonder Woman going to various places, teaming up with various heroes while being hunted down by Cheetah, before she finds her way to Dr. Poison, who reveals she has transferred Billy's mind into the body of an adult man and given him a bunch of superpowers. This is supposed to be this movie's version of Shazam, except he's literally nothing like any other version of the character, and his mouth is sewn shut. Wonder Woman and Cheetah team up to defeat him and Dr. Poison before going their separate ways. This movie was meant to start a series of movies about the origins of various Justice Society characters, with a Dr. Fate movie being planned next. However, this movie would fail, and so Dr. Fate's origin would be repurposed into a different movie. However, this movie would start a Wonder Woman trilogy. Justice Society First Meeting would release in 2011 and take place in 1962, showing the origins of Dr. Fate as he discovers the Helmet of Fate, which brings him into conflict with the evil sorcerer Wotan. The mystical conflict draws in the Spectre, who then helps Fate find heroes to recruit to help him take on Wotan. They recruit the Wizard, the Shade, the original Wildcat Ted Grant, the original Mr. Terrific Terry Sloan, Dr. Midnight, Hourman, and the Sandman. Sandman is killed by Wotan. By the end, the Justice Society defeat Wotan, but the Wizard and the Shade turn on them and then leave. The second movie, the Wonder Woman trilogy, would be called The Wonder Woman and release in 2013, taking place after the events of The Last Stand. As Diana tries to recover from having killed Hawkman, she discovers that Ares is planning to start another world war with a similar twist regarding his identity as the actual Wonder Woman movie, except this is set in present day instead of during World War I, and the post-credit scene shows Diana being approached by the new Dr. Fate and the Wizard. This teases the next movie, Justice Society 2023, releasing in 2014 but taking place in 2023. The world is ruled by Tio Maro, who died in 1973 but then transferred his consciousness into his own creation, the Red Tornado, which only made him more powerful. A large Justice Society team attempts to fight back against him when Jay Garrick returns, having learned to use his abilities to send people back in time. He sends Wonder Woman to 1973, where she recruits the help of Dr. Fate and the Spectre. At this point, all of the other members from First Meeting have either died or left. They break the Wizard out of prison, and then go to stop the Shade from killing Morrow. Red Tornado is activated, but after a fight, they manage to turn him to their side and convince the Shade not to kill Morrow. Wonder Woman returns to present day to find that not only have things been restored back to normal, but the timeline has been completely changed, and now Alan Scott, Kent Nelson, and Hawkman are alive again. In 2015, Fox would release a dark reboot of Doom Patrol. This movie spends even more time on their origin story, with the first half of the movie being entirely dedicated to showing the interconnected origins of each member of the team before they are brought together by the Chief. The movie then jumps forward a year to the team facing off against the Brain and the Brotherhood of Evil. There were plans to cross over the Doom Patrol with the Justice Society, but this movie failed, so that never ended up happening. After Secret Origin Wonder Woman butchered Shazam's character, Fox would be convinced to release a proper Shazam movie in 2016. The movie basically would be the same as the actual movie, except with a few changes. Instead of his entire family, Billy would just share his powers with Freddy and Mary for now. Also, JSA members Atom Smasher and Cyclone appear, at first trying to recruit Shazam and ultimately helping him defeat Dr. Sivana. Justice Society Savage takes place in 1983 in the new timeline. This movie sees Jay Garrett, Alan Scott, Obsidian, and Hawkman join the Justice Society. Obsidian simply joined a bit earlier in this timeline. Hawkman connects to the main villain, Vandal Savage, who he fought in his first life in ancient Egypt. During the events of the movie, Hawkman's memories reawaken as a result of Vandal Savage re-emerging and planning to conquer the entire world. Courtney Whitmore is introduced and set up to become Stargirl, but she doesn't go with the rest of the team and will never appear again. Savage recruits the Wizard and Damage, but both of them turn on him, with the Wizard reconciling with the Justice Society while Damage disappears. They defeat Vandal Savage, and the movie ends with the Spectre and Shade leading the Justice Society. The Spectre senses that Eclipso will return soon, and post-credit scene sets up Psycho Pirate that just doesn't go anywhere. In 2015, the Wonder Woman trilogy would conclude with a movie simply called Diana. 6 years after the events of 2023, Diana is taking care of an aging Kent Nelson. While many of the other Justice Society members are dead, Wonder Woman finds herself taking care of a girl named Donna Troy, who is experimented on in an attempt to recreate Wonder Woman's powers by Maxwell Lord, who is now hunting them down. Along the way, Kent Nelson dies, and by the end, Wonder Woman herself dies, but it's hinted that Donna will continue her legacy. Then in 2018, Shazam would get a sequel, having Shazam face off against Black Adam after an attack on Kahndaq orchestrated by Mr. Mind with the help of Dr. Sivana. Mr. Mind convinces Black Adam that it was caused by Shazam, and he goes after him. And the movie is basically Shazam and his allies fighting Mr. Mind, Dr. Sivana, and Black Adam. Ultimately, they manage to convince Black Adam of the truth, and he turns to their side. Billy also shares his powers with the rest of his family. Together, they defeat Mr. Mind and Dr. Sivana. In 2019, DC would somehow regain the rights to the Justice Society. I'm not exactly sure what changes in this timeline, it's not important. But there would be 2 final movies from Fox to release. Justice Society Eclipse has Eclipso being unleashed in 1992 this time, and going after the Justice Society. Eclipso kills the Shade. The Wizard blames the Justice Society for his death and goes after them once again, before reconciling with them once again, and joining them to defeat Eclipso, who is sealed away again by the Spectre. The final movie from Fox would be Infinity Inc. in 2020, releasing 3 years after it was filmed, including the new Dr. Midnight Beth Chapel, the new Hourman Rick Tyler, who's the son of the original, Jade, the daughter of Alan Scott, Northwind, and Brainwave Jr. The main villain of the movie would be Brainwave. From here, DC regained the rights to these characters and continued this universe as part of their multiverse saga, continuing this universe's most successful franchise in recent years, Shazam. A movie called Shazam and Wonder Woman has Shazam being taken to the Time Masters, who tell him that his universe is dying because the anchor being, Wonder Woman, has died. Shazam is offered a spot in the DCU, but instead, he goes to try and find a new Wonder Woman to replace her. He meets Wonder Woman, but then they are taken by the Time Masters and sent to the Vanishing Point, where they discover it is ruled by Lady Blaze, who has a deal with Time Masters. They're joined by Donna Troy, who leads a resistance including Booster Gold, Constantine, and Mr. Terrific. They team up, escape the Void, defeat Lady Blaze, and then Shazam returns to his universe with Wonder Woman. And that's basically it. There was Doom Patrol First Steps, but that was another reboot that has nothing to do with any of the previous Doom Patrol movies. This universe's next appearance will be in Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, where a few of members of the Justice Society will appear, including Dr. Fate, the Wizard, the Shade, Hawkman, Mr. Terrific, Obsidian, and the Spectre. After that, the Justice Society will probably be rebooted in the DCU.